And we're back with the next question in my interview with Herman Cain. Okay, you've said that you don't think you could run on a ticket with Rick Perry based on some of his positions that he holds as of now. I'm not sure if you're open to the idea of him changing those positions. Could you join the ticket with him? But could you, as you know, what you know about Mitt Romney, could you join Mitt Romney's ticket in the vice presidential slot if he asked you to do that?
It would depend upon sitting down with Governor Romney, if he got the nomination, to decide and make a decision based upon everything that I knew at that point as to whether or not I could run on the ticket with him. I think it's premature to say definitively one way or another because, as you know, campaigns go through phases. And Governor Romney has at times changed his position on issues. I would have to be assured that the positions that meant the most to me, that he and I were consistent. I could not be the vice presidential candidate for someone where we had some basic philosophical differences.
Would it be a problem if he had positions in the past that were the opposite of yours? For example, just 6 years ago, he was a supporter of abortion rights. Just 6 years ago, he supported comprehensive immigration reform in 2006, a very short time ago. One of the issues, one of the big problems you have with Rick Perry immigration, Mitt Romney was to his left at certain points in this discussion over the years. He said he wanted to be a stronger advocate for gay rights than Ted Kennedy when he was running against Ted Kennedy not that long ago. He says that climate change is real, that human activity is contributing to it, and so on. He also raised taxes as the governor of Massachusetts. Do you see enough distance between now and then on those Romney positions that you would be comfortable with where he stands now and not concerned with where he used to stand?
First, Lawrence, I would like to say I'm in this to win it. I have focused on what I need to do to win the nomination. I have not spent a lot of time analyzing all of Governor Romney's past positions or all of his current positions. I have not spent a lot of time analyzing all of Governor Perry's past positions, and only briefly have I looked at some of his current positions. So what I'm saying is it is totally premature for me to say definitively one way or another whether I could or could not, because my focus is on winning the Republican nomination for president.
Mr. Cain, you've said that if you're unemployed and if you're poor, blame yourself. Would you like to retract that now? Would you like to say to the millions of unemployed in this country, the fact that they do not have jobs, that this economy has shrunk, is not their fault, and you apologize for saying that about them?
Lawrence, some people are unemployed for no fault of their own. I was referring to those people who have chosen to go and demonstrate on Wall Street for whatever reason, and it's not real clear what reasons. I have been one of the strongest advocates for getting this economy growing because I care about the 14 million people that are unemployed. My comment was directed at the people who are choosing to demonstrate against those on Wall Street rather than demonstrate against the White House, which is responsible for any effective policy that will impact this economy. That's where they ought to be demonstrating, and that was where my comment was directed, not at the people who are unemployed for no reason of their own.
Mr. Cain, what are you grateful to this government for? You served in the Navy, and the Navy paid for you to go and get a graduate degree while you were in the Navy. Are you grateful to the government for doing that? Are you grateful to this government for passing the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, or anything that the government has done during your lifetime? Is there anything that you thank the federal government for?
First of all, let's get the record straight. I didn't serve in the Navy. I was a civil servant. I started working for the Department of the Navy as a mathematician, ballistics analyst. I am grateful for the opportunity that the government gave me to assist me in getting my graduate education with a graduate fellowship program that they had. I am grateful for this government for passing the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And I might point out that Democrats alone did not pass those two pieces of legislation. In fact, if you look at the record, a larger percentage of Republicans voted for it than the percentage of Democrats in 1964, and in 1965. I am grateful for the United States of America being a nation that can change, because in our short 235-year history, it is our ability to change that has allowed us to become a great nation. I am grateful that I have been able to achieve my American dreams in this great nation, which is why I'm running for president of the United States, because I want to make sure that my children and my grandchildren and all of the other next generation have the same opportunity that I had.
I have a question about the commander-in-chief role. I misread your book and its references to the Navy, and I thought you served in the Navy. You're now telling me you didn't. Can you explain how you avoided military service during the Vietnam War and during the draft, and why you should be commander-in-chief if you did successfully avoid military service during the war that came during what would have been your war years? After avoiding the Vietnam War, why should you be commander-in-chief?
Lawrence, you know, do you stay up night to come up with the wording of these questions? Or do you have someone
just
writing them for you?
Right now, when I heard you didn't serve in the Navy or the military during Vietnam.
First of all,
how did you do that?
First of all, Lawrence, first of all, I wanted to clarify the record because I didn't want to be accused later of saying that I served in the Navy. And if you read the book closely, it says I worked for the Department of the Navy. Now, your choice of words say, how did I avoid the Vietnam War? I wasn't trying to avoid the Vietnam War. Here's what happened, Lawrence. I was working in a critical area called exterior ballistics. I worked on something called the rocket-assisted projectile for the Department of the Navy. It was my local board in Atlanta, Georgia, that told me we would rather for you to continue to do that analytical work to help the Navy rather than us draft you. Secondly, when they had the lottery, I made myself available. The year that they had the lottery for the draft, they did not draft me because they didn't get to my number. So I think that's a poor choice of words on your part to say that I avoided the Vietnam War. I made myself available to my country, and they did not draft me. The rest of the time, I was serving my country in a critical role called exterior ballistic analysis. So I am offended with your choice of words in terms of what I was doing during the Vietnam War.
I am offended on behalf of all the veterans of the Vietnam War who joined, Mr. Cain, the veterans who did not wait to be drafted like John Kerry, who joined. They didn't sit there and wait to find out what their draft board was going to do. They had the courage to join and to go and fight that war. What prevented you from joining, and what gives you the feeling that after having made that choice, you should be the commander-in-chief?
Well, Lawrence, we have a difference of opinion, and I would like to move on to talking about how we are going to boost this economy. It's called my 999 plan before we run out of time.
We are not running out of time. Coming up, Herman Cain will talk about his magical 999 plan.